Alright everyone, welcome to Deep Dives with Dogs. Well, today we're going to talk about a little bit of a sillier topic. I sometimes like to focus on maybe some of the more serious topics, but we're going to focus on a little bit of a sillier one today. And so this topic is how in 1959, the USPS redefined what airmail could be. So, airmail, just an evolution of the traditional mail service, of course. Airmail, typically, you fly in mail, you helicopter in mail. I'm trying to use distinctions there, plane or helicopter. Um, but it's pretty typical. It's just a vehicle getting mail from one place to another. That's quite typical, and I mean, it's of course a very useful thing. Sometimes people are in very far locations. For instance, Alaska. A lot of mail from the contiguous United States needs to be flown in. So a good time for it. Do you have troops in combat? Well, you need to be flying in mail. Sometimes uh, walking it, but it depends. But um, one very fascinating uh, way that you can improve it, you could say, or at least try something new, was tried by the USPS in 1959. This would be mail by missile. You heard that right, mail by missile. Um, they strapped these packages to a missile, two blue packages. And these blue packages, of course, contained mail. They then launched these from the USS Barbaro, I believe is the name of the submarine, and it made it to Florida from the Barbaro's location. Went to Florida. It took about 22 minutes from their location, and it was successful. None of the mail was damaged. It was successfully delivered. And yeah, it's the first mail by missile, redefining what you would typically think of as airmail. Obviously, I'm sure as you can probably imagine, it did not catch on. Surprise, surprise. Who would have thought that airmail didn't catch on? Well, airmail by missile didn't catch on. Um, it's definitely an interesting idea. You know, you have infinite, infinite free will. You could just do it. Uh, but obviously, it's cost effective wise, not very cost effective. Of course, it's horrendously expensive. Um, you have a missile that is worth way, way, way more than just flying in the mail. So the fuel for it. Um, so you're probably just going to do that. However, there are applications for mail by missile that you could think of. Uh, you have troops in a very heated um, little area. Well, you send them some mail or supplies even by missile. You just make the missile, by the way, would obviously not be explosive, of course. Hence, the non-damaging part of the whole landing the mail missile. But you could send in a missile, have it land near the troops. They could get supplies, things like that. Obviously, the limitation would be the size of the missile. And then that starts to be where price goes up. And it would have to be a guided missile, like the one that delivered the mail. Um, just because, well, it's a little bit more effective. Let's go with that. A little bit more effective for you. Uh, that could be a possible need, maybe. Space, just saying, they technically send mail by rocket, which is like a missile, but not. uh, yeah, like like I said, really, there's not really much reason to ever do this. Besides wanting to try it out, see if you could do it. Like they did. And then we tried it. Hey, look, it worked. We don't need to do that again. I'm sure the guys up top, you know, in top brass were just like, you know what? Screw it. Let's try your little funny little experiment there and see what happens. Interesting nonetheless. But that's going to do it for this video. If you guys liked the video, leave a like. If you have any ways I can improve these videos, leave a comment down below. I always appreciate your feedback. And as always, subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Thank you.